Story time! Welcome to Rip the Mask Off. Here's a story time of how toxic people are desperate to get your attention. And the solution here is to remain unbothered. So here we go. I was in training, and there was a colleague who was an adult old enough to know better. And I noticed that whenever I would say a suggestion or make a solution, this person would make digs, to undermine my presence, invalidate my contributions, and to attempt to diminish my presence within the group. I noticed also that the same colleague would spread gossip, negative gossip, to other people within the group in attempts to turn them against me. I guess this particular colleague felt very threatened for whatever insecurity they may have, which is really not my problem. Now, what I did was I ignored them. When they were making their little digs, I would ignore them. And then when they continued, I would respond, hey, that's really not necessary. Let's deal with each other in a respectful, civil manner. And then continue to remain unbothered. But this colleague was determined to continue to undermine. So then their digs start getting more commonplace. They would start doing their belittling, and I would call it out. That's how I would respond, is calling it out. Hey, what you're doing, this behavior is not appropriate. Stop. And I'd be making my notes as this person is doing this. The supervisor who was there, well, he apparently knows the colleague and their family, so I wasn't banking on this particular supervisor to do anything about it, so I didn't even bother going to them. So then, as I noticed that this colleague started upping the ante, I just remained silent, ignored, and just continued to do what I was doing, which was focus on the training at hand and do what I need to do to finish it up, because I couldn't wait for this training to be finished. Then, because I continued to remain unbothered, I no longer responded because it was quite apparent that this person was not going to stop. I decided to again distance myself. I drew a boundary and I just removed myself from the situation. Because they didn't get the reaction they wanted, they literally, I kid you not, regressed into a brat and started actually walking over my legs. They could have used the alternate exit point where there was bigger space, but this person would walk over my legs in defiance. I guess that was their way of showing their temper tantrum. So I had approached them and said, look, this is really inappropriate, because who wants to see someone midriff walking before them left and right? Like, no one wants that, right? And it was clearly disrespectful. This person wasn't doing this to anybody else, but it was very clear that this person was targeting me. So I just decided to let them know, look, this is inappropriate. There's another space on the other end. And then I also recognized that this was their way of inducing some kind of engagement, because the same person would turn around and cry victim because I was calling them out. I stood my ground. I told them once, this is disrespectful. Please don't do it again. They continued to do it again. Again, I removed myself from the situation because, again, this person was on a mission to provoke. So rest assured, targeted individuals, if they're not, they meaning toxic people and their band of useful idiots, if they are not getting the reaction that they're trying to solicit from you, they will up the ante. Respond and enforce your boundaries. Also, be aware of your battles, because sometimes if you're trying to take it up to certain authorities, if those authorities are in alignment with the toxic person, you're not going to get much help. You can go above them, but then you got to question, is this really worth it? Just try and get through it and move away, move in silence, don't even deal with them. Stay true to you and protect yourself.